Hey friends, today we are going to plant the infamous wheelbarrow here at the nursery. I saved this wheelbarrow, resurrected this wheelbarrow a couple of years ago. This was just a wheelbarrow that we had at the house that we used for a long time. Nice metal, very thick, probably steel, has wooden handles, but the handles, because they were giving me splinters, the tire was flat, right? And it's just like, oh my goodness. By that time, Jerry already had a new wheelbarrow. So I brought it over here to the nursery and I used it as a planter. I think my husband thought I had lost my mind until I planted it up, and it became one of the biggest attractions here at the nursery. We have it positioned right here at the bridge, as Brenna is so gracefully demonstrating for me, that leads over from the sun area into the pines. And so every year I like to plant this up. Both, I really do it twice a year for my spring, summer, and then I'll switch it out and do some fall things that kind of take me through fall and into spring. Jerry and I came over here and we completely emptied this wheelbarrow, right? So it has zero soil in it. The wheelbarrow itself was nice and pretty airtight, like watertight rather. But last year we did come in and drill a hole in the side. It's not in the bottom, it's more in the side up about an inch. That way it will hold some water and kind of acts like a little bit of a self-watering container. But yes, so there is a drain hole in here, and so we are good to go. What we're going to do is like what we always do when we are planting containers. We're going to start with the bottom third of a high quality compost. Today we're using Land and Sea. Some of you have noticed that we've been using Land and Sea and the Black Gold compost. Both of them are fantastic products. We use them back and forth. Today we're using Land and Sea. Because this is a very large container, you saw that it just took one entire bag of the compost for me. And so we're going to fill this in because I am really going to pack this in with lots of beautiful annuals, because here we are. Our last frost date was just a couple of days ago. Yes, that is the average frost date. Your frost date can end before or it can go beyond. We cannot see into the future, but what the weather forecast is telling us is that we are good to go until May. So that is why we are planting these. So beautiful soil in there, and then I'm going to top it back off with the Proven Winners potting soil. So it is definitely go time here in North Carolina. We are in the Piedmont of North Carolina. That means we're not in the mountains and we're not down by the ocean. So my friends who are in the mountains, you probably still have a little bit longer to go before you can really kind of plant your heat loving annuals. But I'm sure you are going to be doing your pansies and violas, like your cool weather things you can be doing. So down here, it has been nice and warm and toasty, so I am just going for it. I am going ahead and planting all of my warm weather plants that will take us all the way through. Now, this spot you may be looking at, and you're thinking that this is going to be a shade area. Technically, no, it is not. It is sun. The sun comes up behind me and then it's coming over. It is just about to come over the pine trees here at the pines, and then it will set directly in front of me. So this container gets at least a minimum of 6 hours of really good, hot, intense afternoon sun. So this is considered a full sun container. So remember, full sun is 6 hours or more of nice sun. And because this is going to be afternoon sun, then I definitely want to plant my plants, my annuals that love the hot, intense sun. So that's why we're going to use some beautiful salvias, some supertunias, some sweet alyssum, all sorts of great, gorgeous colors that are going to give us a lot of impact. The hummingbirds are going to love it, and are all the other pollinators, and then the people as they walk by. Okay, so here we go. I've got it not all the way full to the tippy top because I've got to add my plants and I don't want to make it the soil too full up here. So basically we're going to kind of follow that recipe of your thriller, your filler, and your spiller. So because we do see this container primarily, well, really from you can see it from all sides, right? Because people walk around in all the areas, so you do get it from a 360 angle. However, I am going to pretend that this is the back and that is the front. So my height is going to go here, my thriller. So what are we using? Today we are going to be using the unplugged pink salvia from Proven Winners. This is relatively new on the market, like in the last, I don't know, 2 or 3 years. It's not going to get quite as tall as the Rockin' series. 14 to 30 inches. It is a beautiful, pure pink flower. You're going to space them about minimum 12 inches apart, maximum 20 inches apart. This is going to be an annual acceptance zones at 9 to 11. And then of course, like with all the Proven Winner annuals, you want to regularly fertilize them to get the absolute best results. So we're going to stick several in here. And this is going to be one of my major pollinator attractors, right? Hummingbirds are going to go nuts over this. My bees, all the good pollinators. So basically we're going to stick 3 in the back. We're going to kind of ignore the minimum spacing today because this is a beautiful container that I want to get nice and full. So we're going to lay this out so I can get my design right. Then I think we're going to work a little backwards today. So I've got my thriller. Then in the front, we're going to use some beautiful sweet alyssum. Now we have done sweet alyssum before. We have done some in the landscape at the house. This is Blushing Princess. Blushing Princess takes on a beautiful light purple and white hue to it. And it's a little bit more white right now because it has been in the greenhouse and the greenhouse is UV protected. So once it gets that beautiful UV light on it, it will really explode. So this is going to be a beautiful, beautiful, very fragrant spiller that's going to go over. I think we're going to go big or go home today, and we're going to use 3 because this is at the nursery, high traffic area, and we need lots of impact. So we're going to put 3 very close to each other on that side. Then over here, spilling over, we're going to use one of my favorite super petunias. This is the Mini Vista Indigo. Gorgeous, nice, rich, kind of blue, purple flowers to them. So we're going to take those and we're going to space those along the front edge. So not only are they going to spill over, but they're also going to come back just a little bit. And let's see, I might do one more here. So we're kind of going to go with the blue, pink, white theme this year on here. Super fun. Now, a new one for us that we have not used in a container yet. Look at that beautiful plant right there. Isn't it gorgeous? This is the Laguna Sky Blue. And this is a lobelia. Beautiful, nice, upright. This is going to be my filler. Gorgeous kind of contrast as far as that nice light blue, be a nice complement, but it just has a nice habit to it. See, it's just kind of upright, fills in, and we're going to do 3 of those as well. Now, right now, when I'm planting it, it may look a little linear, I guess would be the word that I would use, because we're kind of putting them, my mini vistas, my salvias, my sky blue is all, they're all in lines. But I'm doing that because that way when they fill in, they'll be super thick and just get all together and be one huge, massive plant within just a couple of weeks, spilling over, giving gorgeous flowers so that everybody can see and enjoy. So I'm very happy with my arrangement. So what I'm going to do now is just plop these sweet things into the potting soil. right, my friends, so we got everybody planted into the wheelbarrow. The unplugged pink in the back, the sky blue Laguna lobelia here in the front, then the Supertunia Mini Vista Indigo, and then of course the Sweet Alyssum, the Blushing Princess there on the end. Now, when you have a wheelbarrow, obviously the lip of the wheelbarrow, there's not a lot of soil right there. So I had to kind of turn those Blushing Princesses a little bit on their side, which left their roots exposed. So you always want to make sure that you come back and cover those roots with potting soil. Over here, obviously I didn't have quite enough potting soil because my indigos were going down. Raised them up, added some more potting soil in there. So make sure that your roots are always covered in soil. Now, whenever I do a container, I go ahead and add the Proven Winners. This is the continuous release plant food. It's a slow release fertilizer that you're going to add in there. It has a little shaker top, which is what I like to use, but it also has in there a little scoop. So if you wanted to scoop it, you can. When I plant like this, I'll just come in and just shake right on top of the plants because my plants are dry. And so then I come back and do a little zhuzh like this, and then any of those little pellets will fall down into the soil so they're not actually sitting on the plant, because that could burn the leaf over time. So we're just going to help it along and get it down in there. And then the final thing that we always do when we do containers is we're going to top dress with a nice thick layer of compost. So we're going to come back here with our Land and Sea, and I put a nice thick layer on top. So why in the world do I do that? I have potting soil. Why do I need to top dress with compost? Well, there's a couple of reasons. One, aesthetically, it looks pretty. So it hides all of those little brown pebbles of the continuous release fertilizer that I just shook down. So it hides that. But more importantly, it insulates your roots, so it will help with temperature fluctuation, because we are in spring. So sometimes, some days we're really hot, then some nights our temperatures will cool down. So this just helps. It's like a nice little blanket for your flowers, right? So we're putting that in there. It helps with nutrition. As the compost, it gets watered, whether it's from us watering or from the rain, all those good nutrients from the compost kind of leach down into the roots of the plants. So it's another form of a slow feed for these plants, because your annuals are very heavy feeders, right? It is their job in life to produce as much as they can in this season while they are here, because they are not going to survive the winter. In their little plant genetics, they know that. So they're going to give it all that they have right now. And since these are sterile plants, they are going to be producing lots of flowers. They cannot produce seeds, so they're producing flowers, and they need food in order to do that. I like to say food equals flowers. So if you're not feeding your flowering annuals, then they're not going to be performing at their optimal level. So we want big performance, big, beautiful flowers, foliage, and so we are going to feed these plants. So there we go. Now, you're not going to be able to see this soil in a couple of weeks because these plants are going to take off. This container per se is not on irrigation, so it's either it rains and it gets watered, or we come by through here and water it. Here at the nursery, we have got tons of plants everywhere, right? We water, daily, multiple times a day in the heat, so it is not an issue of having to come here and water this. So we'll give it good water, and then probably starting next week or so, I will go ahead and begin using Proven Winners water-soluble fertilizer on these guys. It will benefit all of these plants. Nice, rich, deep green foliage with big, beautiful flowers to pop out. And then, of course, your great growth. So I just see this container, the salvia is getting nice and tall and thick. My sky blue is going to be really filling in there. This Blushing Princess, nice and thick and then trailing over, nice sweet fragrance to it. That is why it is a sweet alyssum. And then of course the mini Vista Indigos, getting some height to them and then spilling over as well. So we have a beautiful contrast of some pinks, some light sky blue, a nice rich deep blue purple, and then some more with a little bit of white with a hint of purple in that. It is going to be gorgeous. I know my hummingbirds and my pollinators are going to be very happy with that. So before we finish up today, what I will do before we leave is give this a nice little shot of water, and there you go. As far as your watering schedule goes when you have containers, obviously containers are going to need more water than your plants that are in the ground. It's going to depend though on how much sun they get, how big your container is, how many plants you have in there. Trying to teach people or to give people exact instructions on how to water is extremely difficult. So what we like to say is you want your soil to be moist, not sopping wet, and not bone dry. So you're gonna have to go out there and monitor your plants. If they are nice and happy and perky, that means whatever it is that you're doing great. If they turn really kind of yellow and your soil is soggy and nasty, you're watering way too much. Back off of it. And then if your soil is extremely dry and your plants are very limpy, you need to up your game. You need to add more water to your regimen. And of course, in any container, you need to have a drainage hole. Make sure if you're planting in a container that it has a way for the water to escape. Extremely important. So with those tips, I want you to go out there, go to your local garden center, have fun. Had a customer this week and she was asking me, she said, you know, are there really any rules on the colors that have to go together in your garden? And I said, no, it's your garden. If you enjoy it and you like the color palette, go for it. So don't overthink it. Just go for it, have fun. I am sure that the folks at your local garden center would be more than happy to help you pick out plants if you need some help. That is what we do here at Creekside Nursery. As always, I hope you have found this fun, informative, and inspiring. Y'all have a great day. Thanks so much for gardening with Creekside. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.